Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're not just looking at how to churn out good test takers. We are diving into a genuinely fascinating blueprint for how an entire nation aims to build a complete, well-rounded citizen. We're going to look closely at the ethical and ecological foundations of Indian education and how it weaves different types of learning together to shape the future.
So think about it for a second. What actually makes a student truly educated? Is it just, academic excellence, memorizing complex formulas and passing a bunch of exams? Or does it require something much deeper? Perhaps a true education requires both an unshakable moral compass and a really profound, active awareness of our ecology. Keep that in the back of your mind as we explore how India's system tries to answer this exact question.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the Holistic Education Framework, Building the Complete Citizen.
To really wrap our heads around how this works, picture a massive, flourishing tree. The value education part, that represents the deep internal roots, focusing on ethical, moral, and spiritual development that happens entirely beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the environmental education represents the outward branches and the leaves. Those are the active, visible steps taken for ecological sustainability. It's like a giant puzzle where you literally can't have a healthy tree without both those unseen roots and the visible branches working together.
Moving right along to Section 2, Roots of Ethical Consciousness, the internal pillar.
What's really fascinating here is that instead of just drilling facts into kids' heads, this curriculum intentionally instills core foundational traits. We're talking honesty, empathy, discipline, respect, and social responsibility. It's basically an acknowledgement that character must be deliberately built from the inside out, well before a student can go out and positively impact the world around them.
Now, you might be wondering, where exactly do these values even come from? Well, they are drawn from incredibly rich historical and cultural sources. The educational system perfectly marries timeless lessons from ancient epics and scriptures right alongside modern civic ideals. It's this vast cultural reservoir that feeds those internal roots we talked about, creating a deeply grounded sense of ethics that feels both historically significant and entirely relevant for today. But look, history isn't quite enough on its own, right? It actually has to be practiced. Schools embed these values through real action. Students are getting out there and participating in community service, they're engaging in rigorous debates to refine their morals, and they practice reflective learning. So, ancient wisdom is literally put to work every single day in the classroom.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal, creating a responsible citizen. The framework defines this beautifully as a student who successfully balances personal ambition with collective welfare. The system explicitly ensures that a student's drive for individual success never, ever outweighs the well-being of the broader community. Those internal roots effectively keep the ego in check.
Let's see how this builds as we transition to Section 3, Cultivating Ecological Responsibility, the external pillar. This whole idea of ecological awareness actually has a pretty wild timeline. The concept was formally introduced way back in 1972 following the Stockholm Conference. But the true turning point, the real game changer, occurred in 2003 with the Supreme Court directive that flat-out mandated ecological instruction in schools. Fast forward to the present, and it is now a compulsory, seamlessly integrated part of Indian school curricula. It is just fascinating to see how ecological awareness went from being this high-level international concept to a rigorous, non-negotiable legal mandate.
So, what exactly are they learning? Well, the curriculum directly confronts the realities of our modern world. They study biodiversity loss, pollution, the ongoing climate crisis, conservation, and sustainable practices. These aren't just easy electives. They are absolutely vital, outward-facing tools meant to combat global challenges. It's a proactive education designed to face these real-world issues head-on.
And just like the value education we talked about earlier, this environmental focus is highly, highly actionable. Action programs like the National Green Corps and various eco-clubs translate into immediate hands-on activities. Students are out there actually planting trees, they're managing waste, and conserving energy. They are taking theoretical knowledge and directly applying it to protect their environment. It essentially brings the concepts right out of the textbook and directly into the community.
All right, bringing the roots and branches together now in Section 4, Shaping a Sustainable Future, the synthesis.
So the crucial point here is that neither of these streams can just stand alone. Their real transformative power lies in their integration. The holistic framework is this incredible educational model where value education shapes the ethical consciousness, and environmental education cultivates ecological responsibility. Essentially, the internal morality provides the why, and the external ecology gives them the how.
By fusing these internal and external pillars together, the system aims for one ultimate outcome. It builds a learner who is academically competent, deeply socially aware, and rigorously environmentally conscious. This brilliantly illustrates the formula for a student who is fully equipped to lead a morally grounded and sustainable future.
Which, honestly, leaves us with a pretty massive question. Are we preparing our own students for a sustainable and morally grounded future? I challenge you to reflect on the educational frameworks functioning within your own communities right now. Are they just nurturing academic competence, or are they actively feeding both those moral roots and the ecological branches? Keep learning, stay curious, and thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.